You ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
We're live?
We're all live.
Let's go.
We got to high five it. High five. Okay. Pretty smooth start.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for those of you who are joining us, thank you so much for joining us. This is Cigar Talk Live. This is our Tuesday get-together, except, I mean, no disrespect when I say to every guest that we've had previously, but this is already my favorite.
Yep.
This is going to be a special show because tonight I get to sit with two people that I revere the most on the planet, and I get to share this time not only with them, but I get to share the time with you. So if you're watching this, please hit share, hit comment. If we have people in this show, great. If we don't,
hey,
this is a show I could care less if anyone watches because this is just for us.
It is.
What's happening right now, Pops?
3 generations all up on stage right now at one time.
You see what's happening?
If we could just have Elias up here, we could wrap this thing up pretty solid.
Yep. So 4 generations. We have 3 generations. In the center stage, as he deserves to be, is we have my grandpa. We have Mike, Daly, Duke. Call him anything you like. It sounds like Grandma. We were talking about this whole fish story back there. Grandma calls you other things, and we're there. So, comment questions that you may have for Duke in 90 seconds. We'll start this off somewhat normal. In 90 seconds, Grandpa, will you just tell us the path of your life? Where did it start to get you to where you're at?
Into the microphone.
Well, it started in Omaha, and then when I was about 5 years old, my family moved to California, which was kind of popular after World War II. A lot of the relatives moved to California, and that's where I grew up. San Fernando Valley, which at that time was a great place to grow up.
And it was probably just a valley then.
Yeah, it was just a fun place. I grew up in Canoga Park, which was right near Malibu, which was, from my home, was about 20 minutes to Malibu, which wasn't very popular. You could
It is now.
drive over the Topanga Canyon, and within
Puff on that thing, will you?
yeah.
So you go California, and then at some point you decide that you want to chase a dream of working at bowling alleys.
Well, my uncle owned a bowling alley since, it's about the time I was born. He was always in the bowling alley business, and when I'd come to Omaha for a vacation in the summertime, the one bowling alley had downtown Omaha. I'd set pins back then. That was kind of before the automatic pin setters. It was kind of fun, but you had to be pretty fast picking up the pins and putting them in the rack and sending the ball back, and that was it was, I guess I enjoyed it. I don't know. It was something to do.
It was something to do, and then you get into cars. You get into racing.
And growing up in California, it was easy to get into cars because that was the center of racing and drag racing, and that's what started it all. I was always a car guy from, I don't know, since I was a kid.
So
my brother wasn't, but I was. So he was older than me, about 3 years. So when he got a car, I was always tinkering with it and keeping it going, and hopefully I didn't do something or it wasn't going.
We've got some people coming in, chiming in, saying hello. We've got Kathleen Barunda coming from up the road. Adrian, who can't join us. Jim Trader, dear friend of ours, saying good evening. Chris Coulter is saying howdy from the Boyd Ice Rink. And
we got Kevin Amick coming in from Georgia.
Josh
of course,
Sims and
Larry
Frisco.
and Julie coming in from LaGrange, Missouri.
We've got some
down the road
Missourians.
from your place. They're a little further south from your place in Missouri.
Yeah, that's
Missouri. Sorry, Larry.
Marceline. That's where we have a place on the lake that's where Walt Disney grew up. They got a little museum down there for him, and we got a place on the lake down there that
It has
tried to
trained catfish.
trained catfish. Because of you, you trained your catfish. But I realize we haven't started the show yet. For those of you who are in here and not in here, the people who are not in here, let's start this show by saying cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Boys who are not here.
Oop.
Holy, yes, good. That's what I'm talking about.
You're gonna,
Bye. He's gonna. All right,
we're catching the set. We'll catch on fire tonight.
So we've got
In normal grandpa fashion, something's going to catch on.
the night that we decided to open a cigar lounge. We were sitting in a hot tub with you, I think. You remember?
Yeah.
You remember that?
in Colorado.
No, it was this one was here. We'll talk about the hot tub in Colorado, but this one was here where you were smoking it after a couple sudsy pops, and you go, I mean, I like it, but this thing doesn't smoke real good. But you had been dipping the fucking thing in the water for about 40 minutes.
It's just water just poured off the end of the cigar. I can't keep it lit.
Well, I've never smoked, and it's the only time I smoke is a cigar when I come to Denver, or not Denver,
To Dallas.
Dallas, about once a year.
And for those of you who
Not
don't
used
smoke
to.
more than one at a time, well, Duke's stepping up and doesn't smoke more than once a year, and he's on a second here, and hopefully we can get him to about his 8th beer, because it's going to get real fun.
Well, these get me more than drinking. These get me pretty high. Two of these.
Yeah, what was it like growing up with Duke as your dad? Because those who may not know, Grandpa Roger was your biological father,
Right.
But when did that come into play? When did Grandpa come into your life, and what was that like?
My birth dad, Roger, he was around for about, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years. My mom went solo for a couple of years, and then, if I remember right, I was probably around 5.
Yeah, that's about right.
I was probably about 5 years old.
Yeah.
He won me over when he came walking in the house, and he had like 5 model cars all stacked up, and I thought, I can do this. And then, of course, I then spent pretty much until I was about 10, 11 years old on drag strips, and as 7-year-old little shits running around a drag strip with my new brother, and we were always creating some kind of trouble and doing our thing. But
they got along pretty good, and they always kind of like stuck together, and they always, especially at the races, they always seem to wind up with a lot of, I don't know if you'd call them trophies, or they come back with a lot of
Bitches?
No.
Definitely not those.
no, we had no game at all.
Okay.
I mean,
All
we
right,
had
so
no game.
I understand where I get that
But we
from.
were pretty quick on our motorcycles there for a while. So we
On
usually
your
come back-
motorcycles?
Yeah, we came back with the motorcycles.
Can you
and-
guys hear Duke? He's a soft-spoken guy, and this will tie by the time we get to the end of this. The amount of words he will speak for the rest of the year will all happen tonight.
Yeah, but we had a pretty good family there. I mean, everybody got along, and we never had any problems. It was pretty easy raising the kids. They didn't give me any trouble. There wasn't any spanking going on. It was.
It's kind of like knowing Brady won't run. We just knew we were never going to get a spanking, so we just kind of we just kind of, ran the offense the way we wanted to run it.
So is that how you raised us then? Because you never hit us.
No,
in our entire childhood.
I never hit you.
Did you get that from him?
I was never scared of him because he wouldn't sit down and have the talk with me. You guys were always afraid of the talk, right? How long did the talk last? Because half the time you would be like, just hit me already.
All the time.
Yeah, just hit me.
All the time
I
in
had
the world.
to explain why I was pissed, and that took a while.
It was more the look.
Was the look with you?
Yeah, I think so. That's
Do you remember when you lost your patience with us in Canada?
in Canada. Oh, fishing.
Yeah, 21 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember the moment we were playing with a beach ball. You remember it?
No.
Oh, we saw
I don't
the
either.
look. The only time in my whole life, because we drove up to Canada, 16 hours.
Yeah.
In a GMC Jimmy, 3 boys laying in the back.
Yep.
That's when I realized you were bad on the brakes because I was pissing in a bottle and you jammed on the brake and I fell back and the piss went everywhere. It was all over the car. It was all over the brothers and myself. Well, we get all the way up there and we were playing with a beach ball in the cabin. And I remembered you grabbed that. Would you stop it? And just the look in your eyes. That was the only time in my life we had ever seen that, but we did stop it. I'll tell you that.
When he was at the bowling alley, so Uncle Berg owns the bowling alley, and Junior and I were 12, 13 years old, just full of piss and vinegar. He's in the back doing all the pin setting, keeping sure all that stuff's going in. But we had cover. We had cover of Uncle Berg, right? No, nothing was going to happen to us. And we made minimum wage bus boys regret ever coming to work, because we would hide above their break room, and that's where they stored the baked potatoes. And when these bus boys would go walking in, we would just start pelting them, and then they would get pissed and they would see it's us, and then they knew they couldn't do anything about it because they would get fired.
Oh, you're a bunch of little bastards.
Oh, we were horrible. But we ran that place. I mean,
you talk about being just little pit rats.
Yeah.
Because you were a drag racer. You're in the Drag Racing Hall of Fame, which your inductee speech is for the record books as well. What did you race? Did you build your own deal, or how did you get into becoming a very esteemed drag racer?
Well, because I got in trouble street racing, and to keep my driver's license, I had to quit that. So I got into drag racing more or less professionally and built a car and parked my Corvette, and it sat in the garage for 60 years.
60 years.
Yeah, and it just sat there and covered up with blankets and.
Well, I remember we had a garage added to the house so that the Corvette could be in its own garage with its own heater. So it was pampered.
Yeah.
It was pampered.
Did you build you've got the elevator in your house, the car elevator that goes downstairs into the basement. Did you build that for the Corvette?
No, I just built it because I didn't want a walkout basement. I didn't, my wife designed the house, your grandmother, great-grandmother.
She is a great grandmother.
Anyway, but I wanted to put cars down in the basement, and the only way to do it was to put an elevator in there. So I designed this elevator, and that held up the building of the house, because down at the planning department, they said they're not gonna let me put an elevator in the house in the city of Omaha because it's not safe. And then a friend of mine that at Thompson, Dries and Dorner that knew someone that is a structural engineer, kind of went over the plans and put his stamp on it, and I took it back down there, and they had to okay it.
There was probably $100 bill and a paper clip on that plan too. So
No,
it was the
wasn't.
70s.
Anyway, I got an okay and got my building permit, and and went ahead and got the permit to build the house, and I built my elevator, and I built it out of basically it was a car lift was the main part of it, and got it all done, and everything worked out fine.
Works.
It's a part of me that, I'm basically 90% of who I am is sitting at the table right now. Between you two guys, you gave me the roadmap. Begley showed me how to go there.
And what girls to stay away from so you didn't fall off the track.
100%.
Yeah.
And then
Grandma Mickey taught you how to cuss.
Grandma Mickey taught me how to cuss. She's actually teaching Elias how to cuss. I should post that up.
That was later on.
That was I was 8 or 9 at that point. And then you really gave me this love of everything petrol. I always talk about how you used to put the engine hoist on my belt loop. And then you pull me up and you taught me how to mill heads without my feet even touching the ground. Yeah. There was that machine right over there by the dartboard that had the naked lady calendar in the corner. And you taught me how to mill heads when I was really young.
Well, that's kind of unusual because most kids don't want to know about any of that. They're more into computers, and so you were pretty easy.
That's what I wanted to be there. I wanted to be like you guys. It was it's really interesting. Watching. You're two completely different people. It's you use the brakes in go-kart. You use the people for braking in go-karts.
Well, when you get behind the wheel of any kind of a race thing, everything changes.
Yeah, it does for him. I'll tell you that.
It does.
You don't care who's in front of you.
When we raced motorcycles, he would race in the over 30 class, and
I raced in the 250 also.
Yeah, but here's my point. My point is, he was just throttle wide open, and if he finished the race, he finished the race. And I remember we were practicing one time, and he passed me. And I thought, son of a bitch. And then I realized he was out of total control. I mean, he was wide open and nothing was connected to the bike except his hand and the throttle. And he was flying. I was just waiting for him to go in the trees and just be done.
Is that the truth?
Well, that's just the way you race.
That's the way you race.
Well,
out of control and wide open.
That's the way you race.
Well, you can't, you got to get in front, whatever it takes.
Yep.
And I don't care.
He was,
once you're racing, you don't care if it's your son, your brother, or anybody.
No, he's, I can attest to that. When the video game came out, Pong.
What's up, Chris?
When Pong comes out, there's always that you play with your kids and every once in a while you let them win one.
No.
Not him. No, he's going to beat your ass into the ground.
You remember playing me a ping pong at Ron Muller's house?
Yeah, that was years ago.
Yes, it was years ago. I was a young kid. You kicked my ass so bad in ping pong. I mean, you were putting top spin. I couldn't even get the thing across the net. You beat me so bad.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry. I learned better.
I didn't beat you enough.
All right, well, let me ask you
the quote of the show.
Do you remember you taking all my money in Colorado with Ron Muller?
Playing poker.
Playing poker. You remember that?
Yeah.
You took all of his money, didn't give it back to him?
Well, you woke me up. I was sleeping, and you guys were playing poker, and you woke me up, and I thought, well, yeah, I remember that.
Might as well just take all of his money.
He took all of it. And the thing is, they must have let me win a hand or a couple of hands, because I learned an extremely valuable lesson is you never count your chips at the table. I started feeling good. I was probably 10 or 11. You took everything. And I remember
there wasn't here's your lesson, here's your money back.
No, it was on the dresser. I mean, they were taking like quarters and nickels and shit. I mean, I was 11 years old. How much money did I have? And it was just still there for the whole trip. And that trip had probably the most Coors Light commercial I've ever seen witness. You remember that?
Well, I remember the one time Ron was falling into the tub, and I grabbed the beer so it didn't lose.
He did. He falls in, definitely gets a concussion. The beer flies, flips about 6 times in the air, spilling it, and then here comes Grandpa's hand to just grab it. His friend goes underwater, comes back up to a beer that's right there. It's from the guy who's knocking ash and beer everywhere now. That is...
Okay, so there's a question coming in for you. Do you think Brandon became who you thought he would now as an adult?
Oh, I think I always knew he would. I mean, he was just a great kid. I mean, he was so generous. When we'd go places, like I remember one time we was at an airport and there was some handicapped guy went into the bathroom and Brandon went in and helped him in the bathroom when no one else would, and well, I didn't either. And I thought, that's really amazing. Yeah, good-hearted, and I mean, that's just the way he was. And I just thought about it. I thought, that's pretty amazing.
Have you noticed how he is as a dad now?
Yeah, I mean, them kids are just amazing kids. They just look like they're going to be just like him.
So I've got a great wife and a great family, so it's interesting. We've got JD Mars coming in from Paris, Texas. He says, "Bonjour, y'all, and welcome, Duke. Heard a lot about you and the impressions you made on the Frakes boys, and that is the absolute truth. I mean, it's just the people who are watching right now are
Kevin,
integral to."
It sounds like Kevin Amick's cut from the same cloth. He said, "My grandkids don't like playing games with me. I play to win."
Well, I mean, that's one it's kind of like it's not, that's the way it is. I mean, I don't like there's got to be a winner. That's the way it should be.
Yep. Pravada Cigar Club, what's up, boys? They're coming in, and they agree with you. They say that's how you race. You race full throttle, wide open, and if you're not crying, I didn't beat you bad enough. I was so young. Just didn't care. Ruthless. He beat you like that too, right?
No, yeah. He pretty much dominated. Once he got into the over 30 class, he pretty much dominated. And there were times that I'd really question just when I thought I was getting fast, and then he would pass me. The difference was I was in control, and he's been to the doctor more times after races than I have. So.
Well, I mean, before I started racing, I was more or less like the teacher, and I was always do this, do that. And then one time at the races, my other kid, Mike, says, "Well, I signed you up your race." In the first race, I didn't know where I was at. And I thought that's the last time I'm giving any advice.
Yeah, so you've got that. It's really interesting. We still hold the fastest lap record in Abbott at Lincoln. We're still the only 3-generation endurance team to have run through it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. We did a motocross 2 hour or 4 hour endurance race.
Yep.
We're the only 3-generation team that has ever gone through it. So we still have it.
There was one of the, I had a lot of great times racing motorcycles.
71 then.
71. Yeah.
I had we got a race in the Houston Astrodome and got to do a race in Ponca City and raced all over Iowa and Missouri and Nebraska. But I think the coolest moment that I ever had racing was the vintage race. And to get on the line, even though my bike made it 200 yards and then dropped dead, but to get on the line, have him on one side of me, have Junior on the other side of me, and for the first time ever, we all race at the same time.
Yeah.
And all the years that we raced motocross, and it was it was a cool experience. And the funny thing is, not that anybody out here is going to be surprised, but my bike dropped dead at 200 yards. Junior crashed. You were the only one to finish, and you were the oldest rider at the races at that particular time.
Well, then the other race, I beat Mike because he forgot his transponder.
He didn't have it, so it wasn't logging laps.
Yeah, he wouldn't log, so I beat him. So
Oh man,
Well, it's like Junior raced in a race with Bob Hanna one time.
yeah,
And Bob Hanna crashes in the first corner, is out. But all he says is, I beat Bob Hanna.
he's got it on his helmet still. It says, "I beat Bob Hanna in 1972," but that's when he was Bob Hanna. You know,
Yeah,
that's
he was-
factory racer.
That was Tiger Woods of racing back in
That's
the day.
that's the big dog, and you got to finish to
So
win
Mark
it.
Myers coming in, asking if you ever raced sprint cars in Newport, Iowa. You probably built motors for some of those cars, though.
I did some sprint car motors, but
Mostly
local.
local dirt track guys.
yeah, we did local sprint car motors, but maybe maybe half a dozen.
You did it. You were most known for the dirt track, oval, stock car races.
Yeah, the local ones.
And
Bob
Bob
and-
Kazicki and some of these guys that were nationally recognized drivers.
Yeah.
And he built all their motors.
Did you do the machine work on Top Fuel stuff?
Yeah, for local racers like Al Hartley and let's see who else.
But that's the first time when you took me out to Denver, we went to Mile High Drags.
Yeah,
Because the first race that we ever watched, we were behind the gates at the starting line.
yeah, that's what I was doing work for. Well, that was Hartley when I was doing
Hartley.
work for Hartley, and
That wasn't the Zantrack car? Is that?
Well, Hartley was one of these guys that didn't race the tour, the circuit.
He was a
But when
privateer
he
guy.
when he would go to a race, he would dominate.
Yeah.
So he would go to like 2 races, win.
no, he raced the
And he
whole
would-
circuit.
Oh, he did.
Did he go out the whole time? Because I know that
Yeah.
there was one point in time where they kept saying if this guy would just do race every race, he would be.
From a nerdy machine perspective, how do you take, because you'll work on regular cars and make them fast, which you worked on Derek Nielsen's his El Camino and made it too fast that he doesn't drive it anymore. But then
What did he
stock
do?
car,
That's the one I did for Scott Noble.
yeah, the 380. I think you did a 383 stroke or a 383
Yeah,
Cleveland in it.
Whatever happened there?
I think he had to park it because it was too fast for the Mexican roads. He said he was afraid of the car.
Oh, ought to give
Needs
it
to
back.
send it back
Yeah,
up
you should
here.
give it back. But how does that change up what you do for an 8,000 horsepower nitro car?
We don't. Oh, it's a whole different motor. That one we did for that guy was a streetable car. You got to make it streetable to get horsepower. You got to raise the RPM, the compression, and that kind of motor won't work on pump gas. You know, and it's not drivable because it won't have any low RPM horsepower. So it's a whole different motor.
That's
to make
interesting.
it streetable, it's got to be the horsepower. You can't have horsepower everywhere. You got to make it either a race car or drivable car.
You see what Junior put in?
Yeah. Jim Trader, and by the way, Jim's coming to us from his hospital bed. We're praying for you, buddy.
Yep.
Jim's asking if you are a F1 fan, Formula One fan.
No, I watch it, but not much. I mean,
I noticed with motocross, you must watch it all the time because you know who all the riders are.
Out of all the racing I've done, motocross was the most fun because it's all on the rider. Drag racing, it was all on the building the motor, but it really wasn't much fun.
It was
From a guy who drag raced
I
for
remember
20 years.
for kids that are antsy growing up on a drag strip, there's just a lot of sitting and waiting.
Yeah, and you put it all on the line and maybe one race and it's all over. Motocross, there's more to it. You gotta get in shape. I mean, I'd work 14 hours at work and come home at 10 o'clock at night
What's up,
and
Marty?
go up to the school and run 4 or 5 miles, stay in shape, and it was a whole different program. It wasn't one race and it's over, you know. You get the race and chance, you know.
You got real friendly with the dirt though in your career, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you mean as far as racing? Or?
Nah, just as far as crashing.
Oh,
we were
yeah.
talking about the time you, I think, blew your knee out, and
Well, the main thing is I couldn't believe my wife put up with it for 20-some years between me and the kids, and it was just like I couldn't believe it. We were breaking bones and tearing up ligaments, and it was like a weekly thing.
My brother, I'll never forget. We were over by where the shop is now, and he was, I don't know if he was on his 125, but he went about 4 miles an hour and hit this pile of dirt and broke both of his wrists at the same time.
He had casts in both arms.
didn't you make him ride it back though?
Yeah, I didn't know he broke both arms.
They didn't fall off.
And we kept practicing. I mean, that's the way it was.
It's just a different generation how you raise kids. I think it's important to beat, not maybe not good to physically beat your kids, but to beat your kids and let them know where they kind of stand. I think that's you can't be a sissy.
The main thing, it was fun and kept the family together, whether they're in cast or not.
That's the one thing that I can always say is I spent every weekend with the family.
Yeah.
We were in the car, we were going to races, we were coming back. He had an interesting way, considering he's an expert on fixing things.
Yeah,
When I would say, like, I need to change the piston or the rings or something in the bike, he would just go put the tools away when you're done. So a lot of times I was just taking shit off. I wasn't really sure what was going to happen when I slid the cylinder off. I wasn't sure if something was going to pop out or what, but we're going to put back together, and they seem to run.
Yeah, and it was a little bit lighter because you always had a couple extra bolts.
They ship you extra bolts. I mean, that's just the deal.
well, and then when it come like on Saturday night, when we're getting ready to go racing Sunday, all the kids' friends would come over, and they're still in the garage, And
Oh, yeah.
it kept them out of trouble, I guess.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
Our house was definitely the Kool-Aid stand.
was it?
Yeah. Grandma was cool. She taught all
was
the kids.
young.
Well, yeah, and she taught all the kids how to cuss. I mean, it wasn't just you.
Yeah, she was a
Grandpa Elias was literally saying the F word 48 hours after Grandma arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But he was
and it's
saying
a
it right.
perfect enunciation.
Oh, yeah. So he understands it, and she is an excellent grandmother.
Well, she says it like it is, She don't more or less code it or nothing.
No, she doesn't code it, but she's also not a bitch about it either. I mean, to you she is.
Yeah.
She's a big bitch to you, but to us she isn't. But I mean, she's beat breast cancer. She had an aneurysm that should have killed her.
She's had kidney
failure.
and she beat that. She's
Beat
off
that.
dialysis. I mean, I don't know. The only thing she hasn't had is a heart attack.
She'll beat that. That's lightweight
yeah,
stuff for her.
She'll just take a Tums.
Yeah.
She won't go to the hospital.
Yep.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
she's
Bush-
a tough gal.
Marty Upton's coming in. He calls those extra parts bush screws. They're left over and you just throw them in the bushes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I heard actually kind of a timely conversation where you talk about the banter
this.
between Duke and my mom. Was tonight Beckley was going in to talk to him, and all she heard was my mom going, "You are a pain in my ass.
You piss me off."
So she's like, "I'm not going to go in there right now."
But it's
just Tuesday.
She was just normal conversation.
But I learned a lot from you guys. You always, she talks about grabbing your nutsies and ripping your nutsies off and all of these things, but she says it with love, and you guys have learned to just kind of bicker at each other, but never. It doesn't seem like you hold anything against each other. Yeah. How long have you been married?
50 some years, I think 51.
Yeah.
51
Yeah, we
years.
had a 50th anniversary last year. We went together 6 years, so
Wow, that's really exceptional.
yeah, we're pretty good friends.
You guys, you have it figured out. And what I love about it is every time I look over, I see this scar right here on your cheekbone. It reminds me of just how we should probably talk about how we got the scar, and that's going to transition to, you know, a
Can't
good
remember. How
good
did
marriage.
I get that?
This was at my bachelor party.
Oh yeah,
You remember that?
on the
So
fireplace.
on the fireplace. So that started with, first off, Ale, my
9 gallons
fiance,
of vodka.
was
Started
actually
with
on
that.
the party bus. We were going to go to different bars, but then we just ended up, from what we thought we were going to different places, but they just ran the same
Drove
city
around
circle
Same block, yeah.
all night because
Yeah.
it was close to a bathroom.
Yeah.
And for 8 of us, we probably took down 8 bottles of fill in the blank.
Well, one guy slept out in the yard. I remember.
Yep, he
Yeah.
fell asleep. Chrysler fell asleep in the yard. Clancy fell asleep on the bus. Jordan fell asleep on the bus.
We were the
Ollie
only
fell
ones still
asleep on the
alive.
toilet.
Yeah.
I made it in the house.
You made it in the house for a while. I was holding you up while you were taking a piss. Then you went to sleep. You woke up in the middle of the night, tripped over, and ate the mantle with your face. I still have this photo. And when I say ate it,
Yeah, that was-
Duke, Junior woke you up at 3 o'clock in the morning. What did he say?
I think he's dead.
I think Grandpa, I think Dad's dead.
I think he's dead.
Because
Come
you were
on
in a
out
puddle
here.
of your blood. You just went back to sleep.
oh, it's
Concussion,
tired.
you know, you should go back to sleep.
It was tired.
It was a tough night.
Then we wake up. You eat breakfast first, and then
And he
what you-
ate the whole breakfast too. I mean,
And then
and it looked like he ran into George Foreman and said, "What's up, pussy?"
when you had 12 stitches in your face.
Bam.
And then
They did
Grandma
it.
calls to bring it back full circle, and she goes, "Well, how was last night?"
My doctor said that surgeon or that stitch me up did a good job.
I agree. I think it looks good. But you told Grandma, well, it was pretty much a good night
Yeah.
for the most part.
And all the pictures from your wedding, he still looks like he was just healing up from
It
the
looked
15
good.
rounder.
It healed really fast.
It was a bad morning.
Well, but it was a good night. You were eating those crickets. Remember eating the crickets?
Yeah, somebody brought crickets on the bus, so they're feeding them to him, and he's like, they taste like
dead
popcorn.
or alive.
They were all dead. They were all.
they
It was
dead
just
or alive?
It was a box of dead crickets,
Oh,
and you're
geez.
eating them, and you're going. You're like, Duke, you
popcorn.
like those? He goes, yeah. I mean, they're a little crunchy, a little dry. He said they're crickets. They're what? Crickets. Sound like he said crickets. Yeah, they're crickets. We just kept eating them.
Tastes like popcorn.
That was a magnificent night because we were just sitting on the bar in the party bus. But it was Pops was awake. You were awake and I was awake still.
We were at a bar where Scott's son played in the band.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
remember that.
And it just ended with us like a couple of drunk sailors hugging on each other. Oh, I love you, Grandpa. Oh, I love you too. We're just sitting, just drunk as a skunk. It was an excellent night. Oh, and by the way,
Are you
for those of
sure?
you, I'm kind of sure. I could be wrong there, but that's what my memory tells me. For those of you who are joining, this is Cigar Talk Live, an extremely special episode that you guys get to sit in for a moment. For those of you who know why we do Saturday at the Shop, it's a time for my dad and I to sit and smoke a cigar together. And tonight, you are sitting in with one of the men I respect and revere the most in my life. This is Duke. This is my grandpa sitting next to me. If I achieve greatness in my life, it's a great in part because of the two men who are sitting at the table right now. So it's a tremendous honor. And you were going to go back today, but thankfully I was able to rope you into this. And I just want to say thank you for being here. This isn't done, by the way.
Frankly,
but
Brandon, you could tell Grandpa to go run out in the tollway with the frozen road and drop his pants and moon everybody, and he would do it. Wouldn't do it for Andrew or Nathan, but if you tell him to do it, he'll slide out there and do it.
Grandpa and I, we've got a special connection.
Yeah, so does Grandma.
It's just, yeah, I was very blessed to have tremendous grandparents and family. But just getting into, now I see driving, and it's really interesting because the first time that I did a track did track driving with an instructor. We're driving through, and we get through the first couple laps, and he goes, "How many times have you been out on the track?" So, never. This is the first time in my life. He goes, No. How many times have you been? No, this is just a dream come true. I love it. And it made me just flash back to when you built my cart, and the hundreds or thousands of hours I logged in that cart, racing it, and driving it, and just getting to know the feel of what it's like to drive. It ignited something special.
I remember the time Scott rented the track down in the Dallas NASCAR.
The NASCAR track.
Yeah. And I didn't have hearing aids then, and I sat in the back of this the van, and I couldn't hear the instructor. And I got in the car, and I didn't know exactly what, and I didn't know all the instructions I was supposed
Like you weren't
to do.
supposed to pass people and stuff.
I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. Oh, they weren't real happy with me,
Were you passing people?
I guess. They finally, that instructor got mad at me. He gave me another instructor.
So
The amount of stories of just Canada fishing, you bringing back that walleye that was illegal to catch.
Oh yeah, I didn't. I was proud of it.
he was proud of
The
it.
game warden was not proud of it.
Game warden was not a happy
He's gonna
camper.
find you.
But so shift gears a little bit. We talked about cars and stuff. So what do you remember about the kids playing football?
Well, I was at every game, and
You were at almost every practice.
and I took every film of every game, and you never did give me a copy of it.
I have them at my house. I still have all of those at my house.
Someday y'all probably give me a copy of it. You know, when I finally retire, I'd like to see them.
Well, you got another, 9 years until you're 8 years, 9 years?
Yeah, I'd like to
got
be
time.
able to watch them.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about this earlier. There was a game. He was filming everything, and we played back when it was still AstroTurf.
Yep.
And there was a game when the quarterback bootlegged out, planted his right foot to get upfield, and the other player came,
that was sickening.
blew his fib out right out of
right
his
in
socks
front
and
of me.
everything. You had it perfectly on film.
Perfect. And the kid stood up and his leg buckled and he fell back down.
Yeah, his knee touched his ankle, and
Yeah.
he fell back down.
Yeah.
He was probably the best player on the team.
Yeah, and I was coaching the kids at that point, and we were playing the Super Bowl, but the league screwed up and didn't have an ambulance there, so I had to hold this kid's compound fracture. His sock was holding everything together, and I had to hold that together for about 15, 20 minutes while the ambulance got there. Oh man, trying to talk that kid into not going into shock I'll never forget that.
You see the question that's coming in for Duke?
Yeah.
Well, you asked us. I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be right back.
This is a first.
Yeah, do that.
So here, you want me to wait on that question?
Do it.
Okay, so the question that's coming in, what's left on your bucket list?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you have a bucket list?
No, I just go day by day. I don't know. Every day is different. I don't know.
Is there anything you ever want to do? Have you ever wanted to go sail fishing or
No,
jump out of an airplane?
no, I wanted to do that when I was younger, but I used to do ocean fishing in California, but
Have you ever done the sailfish?
no.
That's a workout.
So what's the bucket list item?
He said I don't know. I just take it day by day.
But there's something to that. You get to the end of the list, and then what else? What, just gonna die at the end of a list?
Probably.
What else are you gonna do? I mean, you're
better-
still working.
Yeah.
You still work the machine shop, still building stuff. You're still active and
Yeah.
kicking ass.
Well, my help's kind of dying off. The last 5 years, I had 2 of them dying down to only 3 of us.
Yeah, some people have a problem keeping employees. He has a problem keeping them alive.
Yeah. So you've got.
I'm not wearing them out.
So you don't have a bucket list.
I don't think so. I can't think of anything.
It's
Make a few more. I don't know what it would be.
keep going. Just keep going. I think the idea of a bucket list just gives you a list to check off, and then what else is there? I mean, there's.
I have a feeling at 5, Elias will be playing football against like 8-year-olds beating
Well,
their
it
ass
looks
into
like
the ground.
the way he's going, he could probably play anything he wants.
The kid is jacked. I mean,
He's got structure.
huge. And
Yeah.
when you see how he throws a football, that's natural. Steps into it, throws a spiral. He knows how to put his hands on there. He's an athlete.
I wonder who's been coaching him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, you
Yeah,
said that you gave him the 4 minutes of instruction, and he's lining it all up and poof, just drilling these spirals
But
at 3.
I treat him slightly differently than with Alessia. Because Alessia, with a girl, you have to be a little bit. But Elias, I can treat him like a dog. I can just. That's not how we're doing it. Don't be a little sissy boy. Don't
Well, you kind of treated Alessia the same way.
Yeah, that's.
You didn't want-
I don't need a sissy little girl either. I need kids that are going to be humans.
Trader says we need a quarterback at Dallas. Just saying.
Yeah, I think at that point. One thing that really, to me, is a question that I've thought this whole weekend, and I've wanted to ask you this because we're in a room and you're with. Not everyone gets to see their great grandkids and interact the way that you guys get to interact with. You're still healthy, you're still active, you're still there, and the kids are there, and you guys are making memories, and it's a special moment for me selfishly because, as I said 100 times already, I want to show them what my childhood is like, and so important for me to just sit and to have grandma joke around with them, have you sitting there with them. And for me, it's also important to pass on your legacy of what you've already began. You've created greatness. I hope to one day become a great man, but I need my kids, my grandkids to be great. And you have this capability right now with your great grandkids to give them a message. And what would that message be to them? Who do you want them to be?
Well, you don't want them to be like me as far as like what I've done. That's kind of old history. You want to go on a different path because my path is kind of dying out. You want to go on another direction. I mean, just do what they want to do and just be great at it. That's about what I'd say. Just whatever they do, just do the best they can, and just be like you. Just be the best you can and be nice to people and don't just be nice and treat people nice. That's the main thing.
It's it's funny how so many parents will.
Thank you,
They
Junior.
stop
there.
at do what you want to do, but you notice he said do what you want to do and be great at it, and that's and I think that might not have been said, verbalized as I was a kid, but it was seen. I could see that. I knew that when he unloaded that 55 Chevy, he wasn't going to get beat. The car may beat him. His car may fail or whatever the case may be, but he wasn't going to get beat. You see it on the motocross track. You saw it at a Pong game when he would just beat the shit out of us.
Right.
It didn't matter what it was. It's just be great at it. And that's, I think that was what was instilled on you guys, was just whatever you choose to do, just be Really, really good.
But I call bullshit on one thing here a little bit here, Gramps, because I do want my kids to be like you. You know?
Yeah,
I mean,
like Derek, my other grandson, I want him to, I keep, he's at the shop every day, but I don't want him to work at the machine shop. I want him to go another path, No, he's there every day, but I don't want him to get into working at the machine shop. He's too smart, he gets all ones in school, and he's too smart to stay at the machine shop.
If you were to change your path in life, are there areas that you would change?
I don't know if like I had a chance to change before I got into building motors full time. I could have stayed in the bowling alley business, and it was kind of a big decision, and I had to decide which way to go. There was 3 bowling alleys I could have bought, and when my uncle retired and sold the bowling alley, I thought, well, which way do I go, And I just thought at that time, my heart was into racing, and I went to racing and building motors, and I didn't realize once I went into building motors, my racing was done as far as drag racing because
you were too good and people wanted your motors, kept you too busy.
Well, it's a full-time business. I had no more time. I bought a dyno, and I was really gonna, locally I was winning everything. The last year in Omaha, our track, I won every weekend except 2. I got 2 runners up. It was my fault. And I thought, now I'll be able to maybe nationally I'll do real good. But it took me about a month to realize my career of racing was over. And that's when we bought motorcycles, and that all I had to do was stay in shape. And my other son was took care of the bikes, and all I had to do was show up on Sunday. But it was kind of hard going to work on Monday when I couldn't hardly get out of the car.
Yeah, with a blown ACL. What percentage of the races did he crash out?
About all of them.
All of them.
Yeah. I heard that Grandma used to talk. She was on the starting, or she was near the gate watching people, and you came ripping out, got the whole shot, meaning you get to the first corner first, start taking off, you're in the lead, and somebody goes, "Who's got the whole shot?" "Oh, Daly's got the whole shot." He's gonna crash. Sure shit, you crashed out. That's
Mondays were tough. Mondays were you get a little sore on Mondays.
Yeah. Mondays weren't fun.
So your other little grandson, your smallest one, Nathan, he's watching the show. Nate, it's good to see him today. Good to see Jackie.
Yeah, Nate is, I think you don't have a ton of time with Nate. I think you would be extremely proud of the man he is and the man he's becoming. It's, he just really had a tough go when he was younger, and just to watch him growing into a professional. He's got a great girlfriend in Jackie. He's excellent with kids. Heart. His heart's bigger than his head, and we all know how big his head is. In a good sense.
You can tell the way he is around kids and people. I mean, he's pretty amazing.
He really is an amazing young man. I'm extremely proud of Nathan. I'm extremely proud to be a business partner with him too.
He'd be a nice dad if he ever has kids.
He'll be a good dad. He's so patient. He's so patient with kids.
Yeah.
Those who know Nate from the lounge should see him with kids. Just this big teddy bear, and just a special special young man. I'm very, very proud of Nathan. He's really coming out of his shell too.
Yeah.
What are some things that stick with you from even maybe not even your childhood?
It's interesting when you said business partner, and we're all business partners together, and I think it's a lot of how he raised us, and that is just whatever you do the best, be the best that you can. And the one thing that I never want to look like you guys are working harder than me when I'm here, and that's the one thing that it's just that you guys make me want to work harder. And the way I'm wired is the way he's wired, which is, I want to set the pace. And
had you not been downstairs yesterday, well, we came downstairs when Dad and I came downstairs.
Downstairs.
When you were at the house yesterday.
There's a downstairs.
Well, no, when we were upstairs working.
Oh.
If you were not
upstairs and
upstairs, yeah, and if you weren't sitting
there
in the
was
house,
a basement. I never knew
no
about.
basements here. If you weren't there, Pops and I knew it that we were going to just continue to work until someone tapped out. And we realized, well, Grandma and Grandpa are downstairs, so all right, it's time to throw in the towel. All right, let's go. It's 6 o'clock. I just knew it. I knew when we were in there, it was not even a challenge, but neither of us were gonna stop.
No way.
Could you feel that too?
No, yeah. It was just.
I just knew
it was the way it was dead silent. And it was just. No one was gonna blink first.
Yeah. Finally, I just had to put in some reality of Grandma and Grandpa are downstairs.
Yeah.
All right, we've got it. All right, we're done with this. Let's just work an hour later than everyone else, and then we'll call it good. But it was. It's really interesting to sit here at this time, and that's what really hit me before we were setting up for the show. It's like, this is a big moment for us. For us to sit in here and share this moment, because we've had many moments that we've had. It's just, God, just so many.
Begley's asking, how did you get the nickname Duke?
Well, a friend of mine named Tom Sturt gave me that name one day in fact, I think it was at the shop he used to work for me. Before he got on the post office, he was looking at me one day. He said, "You know what? You should be called Duke." I said, "Duke?" And then he called me Duke, and pretty soon Scott Noble was calling me Duke, and some of the guys at the motocross track was calling me Duke, and pretty soon everybody's calling me Duke. And
but not many people call you Duke, is what you were saying. No.
Well, because most of the guys I don't see, at the motocross track. Some of the old people that, remember me from being Duke, and all the new people, over the last 40 years don't remember me as Duke.
Yep. So everybody down here does, because that's how you always
is Duke.
Talk about him.
Yeah, it's Duke. I mean, we talk about you. The people who are chiming in know we talk about you every week. We have some news story, and we do talk about cigars. My first cigar was with you.
Was it?
It was on your patio. It was on your your front porch. Do you remember that?
Oh, the front porch at the not new house. It's 32 years old now.
At your house now.
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 33.
33, yeah, that'd be about right.
But we sat out front. I went to Missouri and picked up a bunch of bottle rockets. And you went and bought Black and Milds cigars. And we smoked the cigars and we lit the bottle rockets with the cigars themselves. And I was probably 12 or 13 thinking, I'm going to get in so much trouble for this.
Well, back then, my house was on a gravel road. Now it's 6 lanes. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all different.
It was
a whole different thing in Omaha.
It's
a whole thing.
It was out there all by itself for a long, long time.
I also had my first drink alcohol with you.
Yeah.
This one was night skiing in Keystone. It was the same trip that you caught
I
Ron
remember
Muller's.
skiing. Yeah.
We were skiing. We got stuck on the lift. They stopped us in the lift, and we were just swinging.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there and swaying, and you pulled out Rumpelmans. It was, it was Goldschlager with the gold flakes in it. You gave me that and said it'll warm you up. Warm me up.
Yeah, you got to be warmed up.
So my first drink came with you. The first time I drove, it would have been Spot, your old Datsun.
Used to shift gears in it.
Yep.
That was a Mazda.
It's a Mazda truck.
That thing's
B2000.
kind of rusted.
B2000.
Yeah.
It was more rust than it was anything.
Yep. Spot.
Yeah, it was literally it was rust shaped like a truck that had wheels on it.
And
if you would have hit a bump,
that's when
it would have
Grandma,
just disintegrated.
I went and got it while I was going skiing again, and I went and got a new one the day before, and Grandma told you that she was gonna, her magic words is yatsa matza or something. She said, we're gonna give Grandma a new truck.
Begley, if Grandma's watching this with you, you type in what her bohemian magic phrase was. It was like Yatsu, Mahatsu, Yakshimash,
Yakshimash. And we're gonna get Grandpa a new truck. And then you guys went outside, and there it was, a new red pickup truck.
Do you know how many of my friends I told my grandma was magic?
Yeah.
My whole life. It's like Grandma's
And there
magic.
it was, a new red truck.
Red Nissan.
We got you got your first motorcycle at their house.
Yep. The first 02 CR250. My go-kart was, God, how many hours did we spend on your go-kart? On that go-kart.
I used to take you down and you used to ride around, and you'd go off into the neighborhood.
Yep. Now that's all fully developed. I used to just run laps, and then when that thing finally crapped out, I was running laps around the house, and there was a little bump in that the back axle snapped. It was spinning around. The wheel was going off. It looked like an F1 race. But we do have a question here. Jim Trader is: have you ever been on a bike that scared you, or have you ever had a moment on a dirt bike that you were truly scared?
Well, it's when you're off the motorcycle.
Do you remember a moment when you were actually scared on the bike?
On the bike, not so much on the bike as, when
He lived in a state of out of control. So
it's just
you
when
must get used to it because.
Well, you just knew you was gonna. I just felt I was gonna crash, and I mean, I was used to
They
falling.
call it riding on the envelope.
That was
You
when
fell off.
I was a lot lighter, and I just kind of knew how to fall, I guess.
Yeah, I guess practice makes perfect.
That is the secret to good long racing careers, learning how to fall.
Yeah.
Learning how to land.
Yep.
Yeah. So Jim Trader, he's never been afraid on the bike. It's just the off the bike part that scares you. It's. I just what I call is just kind of getting the shovel and digging a little deeper into the next kind of phases of questions. And one question, just from a grandson perspective, is what's it like as you're an older guy? How would you describe this phase of your life? What are some lessons that you're learning even now?
As far as life, or
Yeah. It could be life. It could be anything.
well, it's just I don't know. You're more cautious. You're more license. You realize life's shorter. You do things different.
Like what?
Well, you don't take as many chances. It's just like now, walking out on the ice, you just tiptoe more. Like when I took the dog out this morning, I don't walk out there like I used.
That dog is a cow.
Yeah, that dog can pull
And
with about 2,000 pounds of force.
We were walking it, trying to get it in the car the other day, and it was pulling me around like a rag
You
doll.
got to yank on the leash, and then she'll stop, and then she kind of calms down.
Yeah, she was pretty good on the leash. If you were going to describe Dad in 3 words, what are those words that you would describe Dad with?
What?
If you were to describe 3 words to define who Dad is.
I don't know. He was a good dad, I guess. I mean, I seen him raise the kids, and he raised you all equally, from Nick to you, and he was equally good to you. And I remember, even when Nick wasn't a good kid, he still was equal to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say. It wasn't like he put up with a lot of things with Nick that he could have got rid of him. I don't know if got rid of him, but I don't know what you do with a bad kid, but
Well, in Omaha, we could send him to Boys Town.
He did a lot with Nick that Nick didn't appreciate.
You lose a battery?
I'm losing. I got 10%, but we've got enough. Let's run this bitch into the ground. For those of you who are watching, thank you so much. We're just gonna run this thing till the battery dies. But if you have questions for Duke, send them in. We're gonna sit here and talk whether we're on camera or not. But this one's for us, for sure. I think we got to cheers because this is a moment of time that I'll never forget.
Tremors, so I got to use my left hand.
Well, that's kind of you to say. If that's the only thing that I'm ultimately remembered by as being a good dad, I'll take that one all the way to the hole.
Well, I think it depends on who you ask. I think that's important for parents, that their kids are great parents as well, because that's our role. But if you ask other people around here, you're going to be a great mentor, a great businessman, great whatever you decide you want to do. You're just ultimately great at. And I think you pulled a lot of that, because Duke you're definitely kind of almost that Clint Eastwood guy where you say stuff without saying it.
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, you've got that. You don't have to say it. It's just implied. That was if you were upset at something, boy, there was a reason. You don't just get upset for nothing. I think that's special too.
Kind of like, you feel lucky.
You feel lucky. God, just the story. What are some of the stories that as you scan back in your mind and you just picture some of these moments in time, these stories that you have that will always stick with you? What's one of them?
Most of them, I probably can't tell you because it involves your mom. Oh, not your mom.
By Grandma? Oh, feel free. Will you please tell us a story about Grandma Mickey?
No, I can't. Because then when I see her, she'll be.
Can you tell the fish story that you just told us?
No, I can't tell you that.
Oh my God, that's a great story. All right, we'll tell that story for you.
No, don't tell.
No, not on camera.
Not on camera.
I've been a real likable guy, and I remember one time it was St. Patty's Day, and I was giving a friend of mine, well, wasn't a friend yet, a ride home from a bar. And Mick made a cake for me, and she was taking it out to the bowling alley where I worked, and she happened to. I didn't see her. She saw me, passed me by or something, and she followed me to this girl's.
This girl's a friend. I was thinking not that type of friend.
She wasn't a friend yet, he said. I
So she follows you-
just so we can bail him out of this because she will abuse him when he gets home.
Ronnie, can I get a favor from you? Can I have you do me a huge favor and grab an extension cord? We're just gonna go to worse audio, but we're gonna plug this in so we can get it going. If that's good with everyone, I'm gonna plug in the audio to the power so we don't lose this computer, and we'll just run off the computer audio. So there'll be a switch session.
Why don't you just put a longer cord on that someday?
Well, this is hooked up to that, so he's gonna grab it. We're gonna plug it in. But then we'll put the computer in the center, so that way we can. Okay. It'll be a little bit worse audio, but it's still. At this point, I want to get as much on camera as possible.
I mean, if we're just gonna take up.
Hang on. Go back to the cake. So, Grandma makes you a cake. You're bringing home
a friend.
A friend.
She wasn't a friend yet.
She wasn't a friend yet.
Well, she's kind of a friend. And I was getting her out of the car, and Mick shows up, parks behind me, and she's got this cake. She starts chasing me around the car with this cake, gonna throw it at me. And this gal gets scared,
We could go just
runs in the house, and Mick's chasing me around this car. I don't know whatever happened to the cake, but I'm sure I didn't eat it.
Oh shit. Okay, so those who are hanging, keep hanging on. We're gonna do an audio switch here. We'll pull that USB out of there. Just stick with us while you're at it. Just throw some comments, some questions in there as we make this swap. We can pull that USB-C out of there. Just that white one out of there. And then I'm gonna swap this guy over. Yep, perfect. Check testing. Let us know.
Somebody give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, let us know if this
audio.
audio peaks out or if this audio sounds okay. I'm gonna put this in the center so we can all just share. We're gonna pick up the audio from the camera or from the computer. Oh, shit.
You can use that as your ashtray if you want. Just this little back thing if you want.
This will stick up. Give me 1 second here. Let me know if this is looking funky for you guys or if it's sounding funky. Check.
That sounds thumbs up,
Sound is thumbs up.
but we got a camera redirect.
There we go. Okay, we should be good. We can just pull this ashtray back. Duke, if you want to pull this back by your right hand, then that's going to give us this. If that audio is okay, and since there's no one else in here, this audio should work just fine for us. I'll bring that over there. Got it now. Video back. Looks like we're okay. Well, let's keep cruising. Let's keep cruising.
Back in the old days, your grandpa was known for maybe having a sudsy pop or two after work.
I was just being a nice guy.
Yeah, being a nice guy. And but there were a couple times. There was one time I remember that you were at a bar on 48th and L. Busy will remember where 48th and L is. And he decided that he was just going to walk home to 120th and Center.
For those who are good in math.
For those of you that are good at math. Now he had to traverse a creek.
Traverse meaning he was wet.
A little damp. And I think at one point he called and from a phone booth, because of course you don't have cell phones then. Calls from a phone booth, and my mom's trying to get out of him. So where are you? And he just said, I don't know. I see a pancake house. We're trying to figure out the pancake house is the other direction. We don't know where the hell he's at. We're driving up and down L Street trying to find him, and eventually we got home, and he made it to 120th Street.
So you walked 80 blocks through a creek. You remember this?
Well, that was a different story. That was.
It wasn't the cake story, but
No, that was what the creek story was. The time I was on 84th and Center Street. I started walking home, and I walked across the Papio Creek frozen. And it wasn't frozen, that solid.
So you started walking on the ice and fell through it?
Yeah. That was kind of weird.
Kind of wakes you up. Oh God.
Oh my God.
Oh, that
The one I will say this. There's one thing that I do remember. I always remember wherever we were at, Grandpa always picked up the tab.
Really?
No matter what. I got it. He always picked up the tab. No matter what.
Really?
And then to Nathan's best point here, ask Duke about his famous words, I'll take a look at it. There was, if anyone couldn't finish a meal,
I hate to waste food.
he would take a look at it. And
All
he
right.
would ultimately eat more than most humans could eat in one sitting.
All right. So
That's
this takes us to Applebee's on 132nd.
Oh, that's
In
when
Omaha.
my birthday and you picked up the tab. That one?
Oh no, I do remember that, but I forgot about that. No, it was when it was someone else's birthday and they would bring out the chocolate cake.
No, it was a chocolate sundae.
Chocolate sundae.
Big chocolate sundae.
And she goes, this is when they had smoking sections and non-smoking.
Yeah, there was like the little gate between the two, little railing.
You know,
between
I can't eat this, as every woman would. Tell me you remember this. So you lean over and go, you're not gonna finish that? A whole birthday party full of people.
I'll take it.
And a complete stranger reaches across and eats their fucking cake. Oh, tell me you remember this.
I kind of remember it. They were going to waste.
Yeah, you were the absolute, the Kirby vacuum cleaner. You bring it in, take it down.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, now Adrian's coming in saying, now we know where Nate gets it. Nate says, I'll take a look at it all the time
All
now.
the time. All the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, you're slowing down.
Slowing down.
Yeah.
Mike does it.
Junior does it.
Yeah, but I mean, Junior's got the physique to take a look at it now.
He'll take it. He takes it down.
Yeah.
Always has.
What's another memory that, aside from picking up a friend that wasn't a friend, and then our grandma
Never got to be friends.
never got to
be friends.
they never got to be friends.
Mixed
What's
boy.
another story you got?
Cake kind of scared her away.
Did you? So that was the end of your friend then?
Yeah, that was the end of that one.
What's another story you've got that sticks in your memory?
That's enough. Mick is watching.
You're in there
this.
deep enough.
Mickle,
No, I think she's sleeping.
are you sure?
Yeah, because Begley's chiming in saying Begley's favorite memory is you walking her down the aisle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's a good one.
Yep.
That's more fun than mine.
Well,
That
fun.
was-
That's more traditional fun in that sense. But
I mean, just to give a shout out to my wife, and you can talk about what your feelings towards Begley, but she is she stood this family up and made sure that these kids were on the right track, and she's always treated them like she had them herself.
Mick's sleeping.
Oh, cool.
That
So-
reminds me of a story.
Knowing she's sleeping, what's a story that you remember? So we have the one of you bringing chocolate cake, or her bringing you chocolate cake. Then we have you walking what you thought was a frozen river that wasn't frozen enough for you. What else you
Frank
got?
says time to party. She's asleep.
Trying to party. What's another story you remember? Maybe the bowling alley days?
No, there was one time, speaking of bowling, we were bowling at Center.
Oh,
And
center lane.
we stopped in, I think we stopped and had a beer at the 49er. And I don't know, she's kind of grumpy. I got out of the car. I said, oh, let me out. I'm going to walk over.
She's kind of grumpy.
She was grumpy.
The bad thing, I walked the wrong way. I walked all the way downtown. I got down to 20th and Farnham, or
Oh, you were downtown.
yeah, Dodge Street, and they used to have a little hamburger stand where they sold hamburgers for 20 cents or something. And I realized I'm going the wrong direction.
You didn't see the street signs going from 49th to 20th?
She had me upset. So I turned around and went the other way. And I got back near the 49er, and there she is riding around. She's getting a car. And I said, fuck you. And I walked all the way home.
He basically walked a marathon.
Yeah.
And I got home and it was daylight. And I think it was about 6 in the morning.
Well, just keep going.
I'm glad we're doing this because I'm.
Is that a new story for
This
you?
is well. See, a lot of that stuff was faint memories because I was so young, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just. We just always get my mom's version, and it was usually just a sentence with a lot of F-bombs in it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's because Grandma had you when she was 16.
16. Yeah.
So young mom.
Yep.
So when we're talking these stories, we're talking you're in your 20s, late 20s, early 30s.
Well, we got married, I think. Yeah, we were married. Yeah.
Were you late 20s when you got married?
No, I was 32, I think.
32.
I
So it's
decided I'm getting too old. And all the young gals are gone, and
Mick's the last one hanging around.
I should have married her earlier. She was leaving town, and I went and picked out a car for her. So she could leave town in a nice car. Picked out the Nova for her.
Yeah. I remember the Nova.
She was leaving town and you bought her a car to leave town in?
Well, I picked it out for her. And then after we picked out the car and stuff, I said, oh, hell, why don't I just marry him?
You weren't paying for this. You weren't paying for this car.
Started out, she was going to pay for it, but then when I married her, we paid for it. It was all love. Love at first sight.
What about third sight and fourth sight? Still love then?
Yeah, she beat it into him at that point.
Then after I married her, she tortured the fuck out of me.
How so?
I mean, she still treats me like shit.
It's just normal.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
51 years of love.
It's the new normal.
Yeah, but I'm used to it. I used to be in charge. She'd do whatever I told her until we got married.
Then that's when Grandma's fangs, that's when they came out, huh?
Jim Trader said today someone would be going to jail.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you guys that are still with us, we appreciate the fact that you are with us.
I'm about ready
We
for
would
a
be doing
cigar
this
here.
anyway.
I'm about ready for a cigar here.
Can we get hey Chris, could you go get Brandon a cigar?
A cigar of any variety? Thank you, Chris. Yeah, and also for those who are joining or
We're still on television?
we're gonna go because
We're
we're
still
plugged
on television.
In. Yeah, we're still on TV right now. This program is going well. We've got so Nathan put in. My best memory is Grandma yelling at Duke for his driving in Missouri to go fishing, hitting the rumble strips on the side of the road, and Grandma yelling to Duke for his driving. He was driving on the rumble strips. The two big Newfoundlands panting in the back and leaning there.
Leaning their weight on him.
The big old Newfies you drove down, and I think you fell
That was
asleep.
Book. I mean,
That was Bubba and Lindy.
yeah, they were both black.
Big
No,
black.
Lindy was white.
No,
No, Lindy was the black dog.
Yeah, she
Oh,
was.
that dog.
Lindy was a bitch.
That dog was crazy.
Yeah. But you had that. But I think Nate is omitting a small part of that. When you fell asleep and hit the rumble strips, you almost hit a cop that had somebody pulled over.
Oh, well.
Details.
He was in my way.
He was
He was in the way.
I think that's the end of that story. Is the cop had to stop pulling someone over to get in his car to pull you over.
Oh.
Shouldn't have been standing there. Yep, Nathan is there. Is that Pennington, Jim Trader? That is Pennington. He is back in the flesh. God, it's good to see him.
It is.
It's going to be even better to see him in a second with the cigar in his hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I grabbed two. I didn't know where this was going, but
This is going to go until it goes. This is going to keep running. Duke's slowing down. You're not just drinking beers like you used to.
well, we got two on deck. There's the sound of a good night going on.
Yep. This is a moment of time that no one can take away from us. So this is special for those of you who are joining. You're just sitting in on something.
So Begley asks, who do you admire the most?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and who have in your life who are the people who you admired the most?
Holly Mick. Even though she's a bitch.
Good thing she's sleeping.
Oh,
You know, she can watch this when you guys are driving home. She can watch this on her
No,
phone.
no, don't tell him that.
well, I mean,
She'll be walking back from Missouri.
Oh, thank you.
No,
Thank you, Chris Pennington.
Chris Pennington.
Even though, I mean, she's been, I guess, for guidance.
You mean her telling you what to do?
Well, I'd probably, I don't know, if it wasn't for her, who knows where I'd have wound up. You can only go hang out in bars so long, and eventually got to catch up with you.
Yep. What's a lesson from your young years that sticks out to you?
Lessons? I don't know. Let's see. Lesson. Oh. Let's see. Lesson. I don't know. I always worked hard, but I could have probably drank too much.
Well, it makes for good stories. If you would have sat and worked hard, you wouldn't talk about.
We wouldn't have had a cake if we wouldn't drink.
Yeah, you would have just eaten that one cake, and then it would have been all over. If
Get
you
him-
didn't,
get him lit.
oh no, he's got it.
So I never met your dad. You had a stepdad, and
Yeah.
I never met him. What was he like?
Oh, he treated us nice. He wasn't, he treated us nice. Wasn't like I'd say he was nice to us. Bergie treated us more like a dad, I guess.
Yeah.
My real dad, I didn't speak to him he didn't try hard enough to see me, and he lived in Las Vegas. I tried to see him every time I went there, and the last time I went there with Ron Moeller, I went there and we kind of got in an argument about him seeing me and me seeing him. I had that little Mike with me, and Ron Moeller was with me. And we got in an argument. He thought I was. Anyway, we got in an argument, and I didn't talk to him for 17 years until he was dying, and my brother, he kept talking to him, and he told me I should make up with him, and by then he was living in Reno, Vegas, and So I wrote him a letter, kind of made up.
Was the last conversation you guys had in person an argument?
He told me that I wasn't treating him like a dad, and I said, well, you never tried to see me. I said, if someone nobody would take Mike's, little Mike was, I said, no one could take my kid away from me, and I'd not see him. I said, I'd find a way to see him. I said, you didn't try very hard. And Bergie treated me more like a dad, and you didn't try very hard to see me. And anyway, we got kind of an argument. So I left. Ron thought he was going to have to punch him. I said, no, let's just leave.
Is that something that you carry with you to this day, that conversation?
No.
Why not?
Because I felt that was right, Wasn't like there's anything I was sorry about. I mean, it was the way it was. I mean, if you and Allie broke up and she took the kids, would you just leave them?
That's not an option.
I know it. I mean, that's the way I felt. Wouldn't you go as hard as you could to see your kids?
That's your role. That you have to do it.
Yeah, that's the way I felt. He didn't try very hard.
I just couldn't fathom that. That is a.
And I tried to see him,
Did he start a new family?
No, he married. The gal he married. Let's see, he married. How'd this work? They actually traded wives and husbands. It was kind of.
What do you mean they traded wives and husbands? They just kind of traded them?
Yeah.
What, for chocolate cake or what?
My mom called his wife to tell him about called his husband to tell him about called his husband to tell him about his wife fucking around with her husband. Anyway, they got to talking. Anyway, they wound up switching.
Jesus.
You guys are made for each other. Why don't you just flip?
They just swap. Fair trade.
That's the way that's the way
and
it
a goat.
wound up.
I think there was probably a goat in there.
Jeez, there had to have been a goat. There had to have been something. At least like a 72 Nova was probably a part of the trade.
That's the way it wound up.
Jesus. Well, I mean, that's just you can't choose it. That's when did your dad leave?
When I was about I don't know, about 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
I remember he was a carpenter. They never got along, and they always argued. I remember when he'd come home and he'd have lipstick on his shirt. My mom would start crying, and they'd be arguing when I was a little kid. And my mom would be all upset. I remember that, and then after that, I don't remember too much. But I remember when he was a carpenter, he'd work all different places. I remember at one point, we lived in Texas for a little bit. We lived in Los Angeles or California for a little bit, and then we lived back in Omaha for a little bit, and then they got a divorce. And then when she married my new stepdad, we moved back to California. That's where I grew up.
Sacramento?
Then what brought you back to Omaha?
Well, I always come back to Omaha every summer to spend summer with Midge and Bird.
Mm-hmm.
I spend the summer with Midge and Bird.
And Midge is your mom.
No,
Toby.
Toby's
Toby's your mom. Midge is your aunt.
Midge is my mom's sister.
It's just when I was a young kid, you just go into Midge and Toby's house. And it was just, they were kind of like the old lady on The Simpsons. Oh, raspy voice. And they would just sit at that one table by the window and just yell at each other all day.
Yeah, they
Smoke cigarettes and drink.
And then the next morning, they'd be just swirling like.
it was the craziest thing.
Yeah, that was.
We used to, when we were teenagers, just listening. I remember they had a pony keg in their dining room. They had a pony keg, and they would drink beer and smoke filterless Pall Malls.
Yeah, Palm.
And just hammer those things. And
Argue
some of the stuff that came out of their mouth was
about old days.
it was unbelievable to listen to. I mean, and their voice, you're right. I mean, they're made for The Simpsons, but some of we would hear stuff when the volume would turn up, and they would start going at it, and we would hear you would hear, "Oh, God damn it, Toby, you've never been to Spain." And it's just stuff like this would come out, and we're like, me and Junior are sitting in the bedroom going, "Spain? What the hell are they
But they would fight every day.
every day?" And the
Every
next morning, it's like
Every night.
every night, and then the
Next
next
morning, everything was.
was
cool.
fine.
Did they both live at the same house?
Yeah.
Yeah, they lived when I got a divorce from my first wife. First, and I wound up with Mike because his mom she was a slut. She was going to run off with this guy to California, and he had no intention of running off anywhere. He didn't have a job or nothing. So there she was, no place to go, and so I wound up with Mike, and so I got Mike and I got the house, and they had an apartment, and I'd take Mike over to this apartment. It was a nice apartment, but the people downstairs didn't like Mike crawling around the floor because it was kind of a classy apartment, and they bitching around. They could hear Mike crawling around the floor. So they complained about there wasn't supposed to be any kids. And so Bergie got pissed. And I said, well, why don't you move in with me and you can watch Mike, during the day, because I work nights, and Mitch can watch Mike. And, anyway.
Were you working at the bowling alley at that time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I paid for the way it worked out. I paid the house payment, and they paid the gas and the utilities, and it worked out pretty good.
Berg was a cigar smoker, so I always, whenever I
That's
go
who
into
you
the
talk
house
about?
on 120th,
Yeah.
I walk in that house, and there was just that smell of cigars that I just
Yeah.
always remembered. It smelled great.
I can remember the first time I took Mick over there. She expected to see, it was like in the afternoon or night, she expected to see a couple of classy gals. And they were, my mom, they were in the arguing mood. Scared the hell out of me.
Just
And
the
they
way
were-
they would sit at the table, too. They would sit facing each other.
Let me tell you something. They were rabid Husker fans. And one time we had a cassette recording of Midge, and I don't know if it was like the famous Johnny Rogers run,
Yeah.
but we recorded her doing her narration of Johnny Rogers doing this run. And-
Yeah,
oh my
I still
God.
got it.
It was the funniest thing ever. She refused to listen to it. She wouldn't want to listen to it. Oh, God damn it, that's not me. And I mean, it was just,
Yeah.
it was priceless. It was priceless.
Yeah, it was, I still got, Mike started recording over it, and I stopped him. I said, that's priceless, like you said.
It's
I've still got most of it. But it was something that, you know, it's probably, like I said, priceless.
yeah.
There are priceless moments. There's priceless advice. There's priceless lessons that are at the table. One lesson is I remember a time that I was asking like what music you like. You like Johnny Cash. You like some good music. I said, what about Bob Dylan?
He's not he don't sing, he mumbles, he talks. I can't stand Bob Dylan.
That's exactly. You said he just mumbles and talks, and if you can't sing, then you should shut the fuck up. That's what you told me.
Yeah, write a book.
And to this day, just because you don't like Bob Dylan, I don't like Bob Dylan.
No, I mean, yeah, that's all he does, he talks.
F Bob says, yeah. F Bob, Adrian, cheers to you. Absolutely. We got people coming in completely agreeing with you.
They don't like him either.
They don't like Bob Dylan.
I mean, he's great to some people, but not to me.
What music do you like? What's kind of your favorite?
Let me think. I mean, I like most everybody except Bob Dylan. Because to me, that's not music. You know, I like my favorite. You know, who actually has a good voice that I didn't appreciate till he's dead is Elvis Presley. If you actually listen to him, he has actually got a good voice. Dean Martin. See, now if you mention these to Mickey, you know, my wife, she thinks she likes more rock and roll type music, which I like.
Beatles, but she likes Elvis.
She loves Elvis.
Yeah, well, and I like the Beatles, but if you actually talent-wise, I like some of the old ones.
He's like the Rat Pack. Dean
mean-
Martin and
Sammy Davis
Jr.
Sinatra.
Yeah, no, those people have talent.
And the fourth one. Who is the
And
fourth one
and
of
the
the
other
Rat
guy.
Pack? Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Sinatra. But who's the fourth?
Well,
Does
I
anyone know
like
that?
Sinatra, but he's not on top of my list. Oh, the other one's not a singer.
Trader said Satchmo.
Satchmo.
Oh, I like him, but not that much.
That's the fourth.
Satchmo's the
Fourth guy
fourth?
of the Rat Pack. Neil Armstrong. Or Louis Armstrong. Neil Armstrong walked on the moon.
Louis,
Moon, music,
Louis
whatever.
Armstrong was the fourth?
No,
Well, he wasn't the fourth. No, he couldn't have been the fourth.
no, it was that the other one was related to the Kennedys. Married one of the Kennedy daughters. He was more of an actor than anything.
I saw Kennedy's personal '63 Lincoln went across Barrett Jackson this weekend.
2 million.
No, it went for like 120 grand.
What?
Yeah, it was his personal Lincoln, and I'm thinking,
100 grand?
just think Marilyn Monroe, all of them have been for a ride in that car. Yeah,
That's all that car pulled?
Yeah, it didn't pull. It didn't pull significant money.
How does that not pull money? If
Yeah, Peter Lawford. He was married to one of the Kennedys.
what
He was
about
an actor though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was an actor.
Yeah.
He wasn't a
Wasn't he
singer.
Dracula or something?
Yeah, he also sang.
huh? What about movies? We've got a question that's
Frank
coming
said
in there.
Joey Bishop. I don't think it was Joey, was it?
It's on the list, but he was in the band. I just saw that too.
Who's your
Peter
favorite
Lawford.
movie actor?
Movie actor. You got to say it was mine. I liked Burt Reynolds.
Oh yeah.
Burt Reynolds?
Burt Reynolds, and I like Paul Newman.
Yeah, you can't say no to Paul Newman.
Yeah.
As we're talking about movies, we talk about once a year we'd go to Colorado to go skiing, go snowboarding.
Yeah.
We drive that, whatever it is, 11 hours from Omaha to to the mountains?
That ain't 11 hours.
What is it, 10?
No, it's more like 7 or 8.
No way.
From my
No
eyes,
way it's 7 or 8.
unless you're taking
when
the
he's
scenic
driving.
route.
Unless you're taking the scenic route, who's driving?
Me.
Yeah. So normally
Or
it's an
actually,
11-hour drive.
you start the drive and I finish the drive because you fell asleep at the wheel. And we'll talk about that. But we drove, and you were working for Panasonic, so we had one of the first little portable DVD players.
Yeah.
So we'd go and get the $1 DVDs. And this is when your hearing was first starting to go out.
When I had them things in my ear.
So we took a piece of paper and we rolled it up like a deer ear, and we electrical
my
taped
ears.
it to his ear. So we're driving 2 o'clock in the morning through Fart Morgan, Colorado, and he's got this
A cone.
Yep, it's a cone that's like this,
God, I
and
wish
he's
a
kind of
cop would've pulled
driving
him
to the
over.
side, and it is in the middle of the night driving there. And you know what? You remember what movie that was? For that specific movie, when we taped that to your ear,
It was a funny movie.
one of my
Remember
favorite
that?
movies.
Yeah,
It's-
it was about the guy that he come in and he was substituting he was a gigolo or something. Was that it?
Oh, it might have been Deuce Bigelow. I thought it was My Blue Heaven.
Oh, that one.
It was My Blue Heaven, right?
Yeah, that
Steve
was
Martin.
it. Steve Martin. That was one of my favorite.
Oh, that was one of my favorites too.
You know, another one.
That
was
holds water today, too.
Oh, 100%.
Burt Reynolds in the End. That was a funny movie.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
You need to watch
That's
that.
a good one.
Burt Reynolds in the End?
Oh yeah, with Don DeLuise.
Huh. So we've got fun fact. Paul Newman co-funded the Haas racing team, and my dad was his bodyguard whenever he traveled to Mexico. Adrian Barunda, his dad was a bodyguard for superstars. It was like, was it Bowie or Prince or who it was, but also Paul Newman, it turns out.
Crazy.
Paul Newman was great.
And a great racing driver
Yep.
as well,
Yeah.
right?
Right to the end. Now, he still raced when he was 75.
Yeah, vintage racers.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, we'll have to see the end. I haven't seen that for
No, I haven't seen it.
And he wasn't in like the tabloids or whatever you call it. He wasn't in the, I mean, he kept his personal life pretty private.
I will say the generational difference in this world of bingeable series. So grandma's down here and we put on a series.
She thought it was a movie.
It was The Killing, which it's an awesome show. And each segment is like about an hour. And we're on like episode 5. And she just goes, Jesus Christ, when's this movie ever going to get over? We're going, no, it's a series. So she's obviously, you guys don't binge watch a lot of stuff, but I think they just binge watch Fox News.
You know what bothers me about her? She watches all these movies like Wives Killing Husbands.
Yeah, this
She's getting her plan together.
She's getting her plan together.
it's the long con. 50 years, they're gonna at 51.
Oh yeah, it was
I said,
Bruce Willis.
Can't we watch something funny?
She was saying there's something funny.
Steve McQueen, that's another one.
Yeah,
That was another great one.
Yeah, I like
McQueen.
Steve McQueen.
Bullet was an awesome movie.
But Steve McQueen has got to be the coolest guy that's ever lived.
Nah, not the coolest.
Who do you think?
Paul Newman.
Paul Newman.
Yeah.
I mean,
Steve McQueen's good, but not Paul Newman's coolest.
he's the coolest.
Well, and also Make My Day.
Oh,
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. Yep. There's one thing for the people who are watching that I think it would just only be appropriate that we toss out to Grandpa, because I don't know where he's gonna sit.
Right
We
here.
got to yeah, right here. This is where you should be right now. We're gonna ask you a question We're going to ask you 3 questions. It's called the Big 3. And the Big 3 are a time when the people who've been riding along with us, they get their chance to judge you and fully judge you on your answers. So we're going to ask you 3 questions. And these questions you answer on a 1 to 10 scale. 1 is no, 10 is yes.
Well, that's only.
And you can't pick 5.
That's only 2 questions. That's only 2 numbers, but it's kind of on a scale. You can't pick 5, and we're going to ask you these, and then we're going to decide where we think you are on the spectrum.
Before you answer.
Is it political?
No.
No,
Okay, go
it's
ahead.
spiritual numbers. So you take the first one.
Well, now keep in mind, he's got a place down in Missouri, so you never know. But, so, you know Bigfoot, right?
Yeah, I heard of him.
Yeah, so what do you, so you can't answer the question yet. What do you guys think? Do you believe in Bigfoot? And we've already got one coming in that says
A 10.
Duke is a 10.
What do you think?
At least a 9.
I don't know. I don't know in these questions.
I'm gonna say
6
I'm gonna
plus
say
5,
he's probably
7.
4.
Begley's going with the 1. I'm going sub 5. I'll ride with you at a 4.
Do I answer this?
Now you answer it up.
I don't believe in Bigfoot.
Doesn't believe.
Doesn't believe.
Are you a 1, don't believe, or are you a 4? Like maybe
Maybe
he
he's out
exists?
there.
I don't believe in it.
That's like an Adrian 0.
Adrian's 0.
Adrian, you've got a new friend. Adrian doesn't believe in anything.
No.
Adrian
Unless
wouldn't-
it bites him in the ass, he is not going to believe.
Adrian didn't believe in the color yellow. And he's got a
Hadn't
yellow
seen
shirt
it.
in there.
Hadn't seen it, doesn't believe it.
Okay.
All right, so
All
the
right.
second question.
Let's go aliens. Do aliens exist somewhere in the universe? And or have aliens visited the planet?
I'm going to say he's probably a 7 on this. He's been out there in his place and way out in West Omaha, staring up at the sky, seeing a lot of shit moving around up there. I'm going to say 7.
Go with the 6 on this one, Bob.
Yeah.
Where you at? No 5s. Can't go with 5. 7.
7.
I don't believe in them
At all?
at all.
No aliens.
No alien.
You know my wife has an alien number.
What's her number?
It's, I don't know, it's something by the U.S. Border Patrol.
Well, I mean,
Yep.
if it was, I mean, there'd be more to it if there's. Why wouldn't there be more to it if there's?
Well, you were alive when the spaceship supposedly crashed in Roswell, New Mexico.
But that was 49. You were still a young kid. Wasn't it 49?
Was it 49 or 54?
Oh.
No, it was in the 40s, I think.
Do you remember that news and stuff when that happened?
I remember it, but I don't. Why wouldn't there be more?
Love you, Jimmy.
More to it. I mean,
Yep. All right. Sub 5s. Sub 5s on both. Pops, what's the third one?
The third one is ghosts.
no.
Do you believe?
All right. All right.
Yeah,
Grandpa's a non-believer in all
I
things.
gotta be able to touch it or see it.
Adrian, you're missing out is what we're trying to say. I thought one of these he was going to be above 5. Maybe we're going to get him on ghosts.
Yeah, I thought maybe ghosts, but
No.
what about spirits? You think that there's anything that
I
visits
thought
you?
it was 3 questions.
Well, there's some two-parters. We're going for the gusto.
No, I don't believe in ghosts.
No ghosts, no spirits.
No ghosts.
How do you wish this is completely different?
Hold on just a second. You believe that there was a white wolf because you would take me and Junior down to freaking Hummel Park and scare the living shit out of us when we were kids. In the back of the
believe
El
it?
Camino. I believed it then because we about broke the back window out trying to get into the car.
Did you cry?
Oh yeah.
Then you were driving hard enough.
There's a place in Omaha, It's called Hummel Park. It's the scariest. Like, it looks like every horror movie you've ever seen. And he had a '69 El Camino, and he put me and Junior in the back, and they were up front. We took a ride down this, and it was lit like the worst horror movie you could ever imagine.
You were a couple of brave kids back then.
I'll tell you, no, we didn't look like it then. We looked like little bitches. Is what we looked like then.
Hotel we drove up there.
Oh my God, I was scared to death.
Well, what were you thinking inside of the car?
They
when
were.
in
I'm
the
sure
back?
they were laughing their ass off.
Yeah, they were real brave kids that we drove up there.
So they knew what they were in for.
No, they didn't until we got there.
No, we just knew the stories. I mean, we had been told the story about the white wolf.
Did you get to
and
the entrance and they told you to get in?
No, we were in the back.
They were in the back, and they just...
That was back when you could ride in the back of a pickup or in the back of an El Camino and just go for a ride.
Took them for a ride.
Oh my God, it was the scariest thing. That screwed us up for a long time.
Grandpa, how?
They never recovered.
No, they still haven't recovered.
I haven't gone to a haunted house ever.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's just I'm just.
Well, I mean,
scared of being scared.
him and Grandma got us believing that there was a 6-foot spider in the basement, and I went to your house my whole life. My grandma went downstairs, made a bunch of ruckus, ran upstairs, and she pulled pantyhose over her face and said that she got webbed and she was fainting in this whole thing. So we knew that there was a spider downstairs. When I was in college, I went to your basement and I was still pretty scared of your basement. If one of you two were not in the basement with me, I was not going in there. I was so afraid of that basement.
Yep.
I would be interested to go in that basement today and see how I felt.
I bet you by yourself.
Just because of the corners.
Yep.
You've got that old petrified wood that sits kind of up in the window down there in the crawl space window.
Yeah.
That's a scary piece of wood if I've ever seen one.
That wood will get you.
That wood will get you.
She's still a bitch. What? I can't believe she's... she's just mean.
To you.
I can't believe she was like that to kids. She shouldn't be doing that.
Well, you let her do it, so you're partly at fault here.
I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't like that.
We didn't like it. I'm afraid of spiders to the day.
I never scared you kids.
Adrian says spiders are real.
Spiders are real. I believe in spiders, especially 1 6-footer in your
She's
basement.
doing that ticky spider shit, trying to scare kids. What the hell is that about?
Grandpa, how do you want to be remembered?
I don't know, just being a nice guy,
I'd say
likable.
Yeah, that's obviously you've
Mick
succeeded.
don't understand.
Being likable.
I remember one time I was down at the bar and sitting with some friends. She comes over and dumped a pitcher of beer all over the table, went out and kicked the side of my car.
I didn't realize my grandma was.
My mom's this tall.
I didn't know grandma was such a loose cannon.
Oh, she used to be a bitch.
Why did she come pour a pitcher of beer on you?
She didn't like my friends.
Were these lady friends or guy friends?
Lady friends.
She was just marking her territory.
Yeah, she was marking the territory.
And it was bad. Ron Mueller had a hold of her. If he would have pulled her back another foot, she wouldn't be able to kick my car in.
So, Bowler, your best friend let her kick your car?
Yeah. I said, Ron, could you hold her back another foot?
Oh my God.
What's your most memorable story of your just go back away from the chocolate cake and the falling into the river and the, you sitting with your lady friends and grandma dumping a pitcher of beer. They weren't friends yet. What's a memorable story you'll never forget?
Probably getting married. I don't know. Me and Mick's had a lot of them.
A lot of stories.
That's
Lots of
probably
stories.
why I got tremors.
It's just
You're
fear.
still shaking.
Well, what I've got to say for everyone who joined us this evening, I just want to say thank you. And Grandpa, I want to say thank you to you for everything you've done for me, for us. Or if I ever become a great man, it's because of you, because of Dad. This conversation is one that I'm going to download and have forever. And I hope to do it again as soon as possible. And I think I speak for all of us when I say, get your ass back down here to Dallas.
I can't. I don't think we can sign off without. You keep referring to that you want to be a great man, and you already are. So you keep doing what you're doing.
Well, hope I got a few more years to do it.
Yeah, you just keep pushing, and if it requires us to go to Nebraska to see you, then we'll get in a car and drive up to Nebraska. I don't really give a shit because, quite honestly, every moment that we get to spend with you, even since I was a little kid, is just the most magical, memorable moments. You're a guy that doesn't speak that much, but I always want to listen to everything you have to say.
Yeah, I'd like to do a few more of these shows because I'm hearing a lot of these stories for the first time. They all make sense, by the way. I'm not. There's no color added to these. I'm sure that my 5 foot, 100-pound mother could. She could probably still put a dent in a car.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yep. So thank you.
Grandma's got a lot of them.
We need to have Grandma on the show.
Oh my God.
We need to have Grandma on
I'm
the
telling
show.
you, that'll be the most watched show on the
Remember
internet.
one time when the homie inn, they just closed the bar up, and she was going on talking about all the things I did, and it didn't stop till daylight.
They closed the bar and she just went off
Yeah,
till
and
daylight.
Daylight, they just locked the door, and it was me and the bar owner, Chad Willis, and a couple of the customers.
They all sat around. They were gobbling the
Those
stories up.
those who are watching, who wants an encore? Who wants another story as a palate cleanser?
I don't
Sign off on this because we need this. We have people who are hanging with us. If you want it, bring some heat, bring some comments, some love here.
Junior is now watching.
I don't think Mick will allow me to work.
Grandma's not coming back down.
No.
Oh yeah. All right. So we've got one. We need an encore. We need some love here. Bring it in. Encore. Kevin Amick. He's in Georgia. It's later there.
It's later there. Yeah.
We need an encore story, Grandpa.
All these cigars they're worse than drinking for a guy that don't smoke.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got to keep it coming. We just got people chiming in right now. Keep it coming. Encore. All right. We need an encore story from you, Grandpa.
Oh, let's see. I've got a bunch of them.
We've got nothing but time.
I don't know.
Damon, you're definitely going to want to go back and watch this show from the beginning.
That's one thing when Mick, my wife, when she had that brain aneurysm, I thought her memory was gone, but she don't remember all the good times we had, but she sure remembers all the bad things. Like some of the stories I just told you. I said,
What's a
"Can't you
story that you
remember
didn't tell us that you think she remembers?
I don't know. Let me think.
Well, we've heard a lot about my mom, and I think the story.
Oh, he's got one.
I think. Let me just say this. Just remember it, okay? This will sum up my mom in a nutshell. She has a brain aneurysm, and she calls my house, and I think she's saying something on the phone. I can hardly hear her. I hang up the phone. I take off to the house. Well, she was smart enough to call paramedics. Paramedics show up. They take her to the hospital. We get into the hospital. They said, we've got to go in and operate. She has this, she had a brain aneurysm. We got to get in there and get it dealt with. So me and Grandpa are sitting in the room. She's on the stretcher. She's getting ready to get wheeled into the room. He bends over, gives her a kiss, and everything's going to be okay. And my little frail mom that's in the midst of this brain aneurysm, she does one of these, and I lean over and she's like, come here, and I'm thinking this is going to be one of those moments. I'm going to hear the last thing from my mom. And she bends over and I go, yeah, Mom, what? And she goes, that doctor? Yeah. Tell him not to fuck up. And I told the doctor that.
Well, she also said, told the doctor earlier, she said, can you do something about these wrinkles?
The brain surgeon, where you tightened up my neck.
I'm thinking she's taking this so lightly. I thought this is a pretty serious operation.
Okay, so
tell the Indy story and then cap us off with your story that you just remembered.
So Begley reminded us of Indy. We went to the Indy 500, and Scott Noble and all of us went out to the Indy 500, walking around doing bar to bar to bar. And by the time we got to the, I don't know, 6th or 7th bar, the whole city of Indy was kind of on a slant because Grandpa would start in the left lane and kind of work his way over to the right lane as we're walking down the street. Everything was kind of getting a little crooked. So he's sharing a room with Junior. Junior's also had a couple of drinks and he's a little tired. So he's sleeping. Grandpa's in his tighty-whities and he has to get up and take a piss. So he gets up and takes a piss and walks out the front door of the hotel room, and the door closes behind him and locks. And he's sitting out there with his underwear on, and he's beating on the door, and finally he just got on his back and just started kicking the door. And Junior's sleeping through the whole thing.
I'm out in the hall in my shorts, beating on the door with my feet. Finally, I just figured out I'm going to sleep out here in the hall in my shorts, beating on the door. No one's coming. Mike's not getting up. I turned left instead of right.
Instead of going to the bathroom.
In the hallway.
And Grandpa's asleep, so what happens?
Finally, I think
you had to call somebody.
The door's finally open. There's finally Mike. He said, what are you doing? Fuck you think I'm doing?
I'm sleeping in the hallway. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, here's this guy underwear kicking on the door.
With his eyes closed, sleeping and kicking.
Frank's is in the other room. He thinks we got to yell in that room. And we're banging on the headboard.
Oh my God.
And he's awake the whole time and he doesn't do anything.
No.
Oh.
Junior Sultry, you can't make this up.
No. All right, you just thought of a good story. You thought of a story when you just went, oh, what's that story?
Let me think now. Let me think, where was I? One time, this time Mick got out of the car. She got mad at me this time, which is real rare. I'm the one that's always doing the walking. She got out of the car. You know, I can't leave my sweetheart walking around. This was on 60th and Pacific. And I thought, well, I can't leave her walking. So I'm driving around, looking for her. I figured she's walking around trying to, and I'm riding all around the neighborhood on 60th and Pacific looking for her. I finally thought, geez, I don't know, where in the hell should someone pick her up, or what the hell happened to my wife? You know? And then finally, about an hour riding around, I thought, well, I don't know what to do. So I drove home, and she's sleeping. Sleeping in bed.
How did she get home?
So I woke her up and I said, how the hell did you get home? She said, like, when there's a phone booth right there. Said I called a fucking cab.
So that's a big difference. Instead of walking
Yeah.
the wrong direction,
I thought, where in the hell did she go? Riding all around there for about an hour, 2 hours, figuring she's walking downtown, uptown, walked through the park. Where in the hell did she go?
Begley comes in and reminded me of a great story. When we first started dating, I gave her the old get out and check and see if my taillights are working. And then she got out, walked out, and I took off.
Oh, you're mean something.
Apparently it's hereditary. Yeah,
did you do that to Grandma?
No, well, I act like I was doing that, but then I drove around the block and she
So you left for long enough that she thought you actually left
that's
her.
how fast she was. I don't know if she called it.
She wasn't committed to the walk.
No.
No, she don't walk.
This is good stuff.
Well, this is great stuff. With that, I think we cheers it for the end.
Cheers.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. With that, we will hope, I don't know if we're going to be able to top this show. Only way we could top it is if I could get my mom on this show. But, of course, join us every Tuesday night, 8:30, and for Cigar Talk Live. And then Saturday, of course, it is Saturday at the shop. And we'll still be hungover from this particular.
This was a good one.
This was a good one.
Yeah, we might.
We
need to take the
appreciate
next
you guys
series.
hanging out with us and getting a chance to just kind of eavesdrop in on just a good family reunion. That's what Cigar Talk Live is all about. And we're so glad that you guys joined us. And for those of you that weathered the ice skating rink that we have here in Dallas today. So with that, peace, love, and chicken grease.
Love you. Peace.
See ya.
Right.
Yeah, you got a lot of fans right now.
You've got a lot of fans.